So it is my pleasure to introduce our final speaker of the morning. He's doing another 20-minute lightning talk. And so we're going to allow him to go to 20 minutes speaking if he so chooses. If he actually finishes early, then we'll have questions. We're not going to try and stop him for questions. And our last speaker this morning is Howie, who is the founder of Onwardly. And he is presenting a talk entitled The 5 Stages of Security Grief, a humorous look at how we can help people navigate the realities of information security. Please welcome Phil.
Good. Well, thank you. Thank you for sticking around for my talk. I know everybody is hungry for lunch, so this probably won't be 20 minutes, but we're going to take a quick tour through what I call the 5 stages of security grief. So this is something I've noticed when people are sometimes confronted with security work in their world, whether maybe it's a client of yours, perhaps a colleague, or maybe even yourself. And you know, you come to this realization of the things that perhaps you need to do in terms of security, and it can be a bit of a shock. So you might be familiar with the 5 stages of grief. This is the 5 stages of security grief. So we're going to go through each of these 5 real quick, and then we're going to look at 3 things that we can do to help these colleagues of ours, these clients, manage this a little bit easier and hopefully come through the other side in one piece. Thank you to John and the AppSec conference for putting this all on. This is really, really high quality, and it takes a lot of effort to put something like this together. So huge appreciation to them for making all of this happen. As John said, my name is Phil. I've been in the tech industry here for around 20 years and has spent a good chunk of that in the startup world. So startups and security get really interesting, and there's all sorts of challenges that go on there. So recently, I am founder of a new company called Onwardly. And just briefly, Onwardly is an app which helps startups and growing tech companies sort of cheaply and effectively establish their own security programs. So I'd love to connect with you, whether it's on LinkedIn, I'm pretty easy to find, Twitter as well, or email me, or just to come say hi. I'd love to meet a few more of you in this space as well. Very quickly, thank you to the sponsors. They've tipped in a whole bunch of money to make all of this a possibility. You go and work for them, buy their products, and show them some love. They're all in the vendor booths as well. And you know, they really do make it possible for people to come to the conference who might not be able to come normally. So huge appreciation to them as well. Cool. So we're going to dive into the first of the 5 stages of grief. And for any psychology students out there, or anyone knows what the first one is, does anyone know what it is? Any guesses? Denial, did I hear denial? You're exactly right. Denial. So why do we deny things? This happens really, really commonly. Has anyone noticed denial in their world? Maybe a client or a customer has sort of tried to pretend this doesn't exist. Security work is one of those things that people, the first stage of shock is just simply outright denial. You know, maybe I don't need to do this in my world. Maybe this just doesn't apply to me. Maybe this is not really something that I need to worry about. I'm just going to pretend this doesn't exist and hope for the best. So why do we deny things? We deny things to kind of numb the pain, to avoid having to do the things that ultimately we know that we need to do. And you know, this is quite common to see this. I've certainly experienced this in my own world when faced with the realities of things that I know that I need to do. So this is just the first stage. There are 4 more. And I've got some great animal pictures to show you there that I spent a really long time just, you know, finding and curating for you guys. So I hope you enjoy them. All right, so who knows what number 2 is? Anger. Anger. Got some smart people in the audience today. Anger. Who knows somebody that looks like this? Maybe you look like this. I've looked like this from time to time, maybe a little bit less here these days. But anger is the second stage in our emotional journey through security work. And it's kind of normal. Hopefully it's not too intense, but you know, it's entirely normal for us to get angry when looking at some of the things that we have to do. Maybe it's a huge interruption to your day job. Maybe you were really happy just getting along with the things that you were doing, and someone came and dropped this security bomb in your world. or maybe this is the reverse and you've done this to someone else. It's normal. We can get through it, hopefully, and the important thing is not to give up at this stage in the grieving journey as we go forward. Who knows what number 3 is? Yes, very good. So once the anger sort of subsides and we go through to the next stage, we get to bargaining. We all do this. If anyone is a parent here, you'll know you've got kids that do this. I've experienced this multiple times with my children on a daily basis, usually. So bargaining is one of those things that we try to do just simply to get out of doing the things that we have to do. You know, maybe somebody will try and do this, but not this. Maybe they'll try and make trade-offs. Maybe they'll try and weasel their way out of doing the things that they need to do. But the important thing is if you're in charge of helping someone get through some security work, it's not to give up at this point. They may try and bargain out of it completely, but stay strong and help them complete the journey that they're on as well. Number 4. Somebody? No, that's the last one. Number 4 is sad panda. Sad panda. I couldn't find anything else suitable for the slide. I thought sad panda was kind of the best. The original sad meme on the internet. So depression, and look, I don't mean to make too much fun of this, it's a real thing, but we're at the bottom of the journey here. It only gets better from this point. If you're in charge of security and you're working with somebody, and maybe this has happened to you as well, it's normal at this point to hit this sort of stage of depression in terms of the things that we need to do. So it does get better from here. They always say it's darkest before the dawn. And so depression gives way to the next one, which I think somebody shouted out over there, which is acceptance. Look at these guys. They've accepted their world. They're happy to get on with the security work that they need to do. And hopefully the people that you're working with as well might feel the same way. It's not an easy journey, and acceptance doesn't necessarily mean people are bouncing off the walls, but it may mean that they've got to a place where they're willing to accept the work that needs to be done, and the work is good. And so acceptance is the kind of 5th stage of the grieving journey, and hopefully we've got through it in one piece together as well. So I want to just really quickly cover 3 things that we can do in our world to help people. Perhaps it's a client, perhaps it's a colleague, maybe it's even yourself. 3 things that we can do here to help people go through this journey and perhaps get through it a little easier as well. So number 1, it's normal. It's normal. It's really important to kind of validate the fact that this is normal. Sometimes people might go through this really quickly, or sometimes it might take a little longer, but it's normal, right? And we may not be as extreme as I've made it sound, but whenever we're confronted with something new and maybe it's a bit of a shock, these things are kind of normal. And so it's important to validate that feeling, to not deny it, to not pretend it doesn't exist, but to tell ourselves and tell other people and empathize that these feelings are real and that we can help them through it and stick with them on the journey, and they'll come out successful. Number 2 is to be patient. Sometimes this takes a little while. It doesn't always happen in one go. Maybe it takes an hour, maybe it takes a day, maybe it takes a week. But a little patience goes a long way when dealing with people, and also be patient with yourself as well. These things can't always be rushed, and maybe people need to experience every one of the 5 stages of grief before they'll come around and be on board with you as well. And the 3rd one, celebrate success. Did you know dog sunglasses are a real thing? Apparently this is a real thing. I discovered this. I was researching slides for this. I don't have a dog, but apparently dog sunglasses are real. So, they seem like a good way to celebrate success. If people get through this and do the work, then it's worth celebrating, right? Security work is sometimes hard, it's sometimes challenging. So celebrate success. Give your client or your coworker a high five, a virtual high five, and let them know that what they've done is really great as well. celebrating success is a key to good outcomes, and I think it'll help us all on that journey a little bit easier as well. So that's it for me, just a short one, but if you want to get in touch, please connect and say hello. Love to meet you, and I'll hand it back.